Okay, somebody asked me to explain the hobosexual cycle, so let's go. Okay, you start off with the bum. He doesn't want to work, okay? So he normally has a job or he gets a job, okay? Just something temporarily. He thinks he's better than it, but whatever. So he finds a chick. He's looking for a chick with a car and a place. These are the two resources that he looks for. If she has a car and a place, perfect. She's game. So he talks to her. They deal with each other. They get together, okay? So next, after he's fully secured, he knows he like her, he's fully in her place, and that's when he's going to leave his job, or he's going to say his boss doesn't like him. This was the goal, okay? This is when he reached the zenith, okay? The boss don't like him, whatever. Sometimes they don't even have a job when they do this. Sometimes they just go straight to getting with her and getting in here, okay? So 3 ways this actually can work, and he succeeded in his goal, and he's straight. She has an abundance of resources. Okay, so if she has a bunch of money, like let's say she just has it to blow or spare, that's good. He's fine. She'll let him do this. Okay, if she's old and just looking for companionship, he's good. If it's a trauma, she has trauma damage, like some type of trauma bond with the dude, she'll do it. Like it could be they known each other for years and then he does this, or she has family members that do this, or she hates herself or something like that, or she looks nuts. The look nuts part could backfire because her friends could start gassing her like, girl, you deserve better than that, whatever. But if she looks nuts, she knows she looks nuts, and let's say this guy's kind of like relatively handsome or something, like he wouldn't mess with her unless all this was going on, then he can ride off that for years. But when it does fail, when one of these 3 things don't happen, they break up. She leaves the bum, don't want nothing to do with him. It takes a minute, but he gets here. So then he's back here and he don't want to work, and he got to find another sucker. And that's the cycle.
Get ready with me while I share a story time of how I dated a narcissist. Before I start sharing the story, let me just say all of this happened while I was in my 20s. And I think the last narcissist I dated, I was 30. I dated 3 narcissists in my life, and I'm going to share story times of all 3, I guess. I just feel like I don't really like sharing these stories because, when people come on the internet and share their stories, people tend to judge them and say, well, it's your fault and you should have chose better, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I feel like I need to share a little bit more because I do want to connect with y'all. By the way, the foundation I'm using is Rare Beauty and the shade is 380W. Sharing stories like this it feels very vulnerable to me. So please do not judge me. This happened in my 20s. I did not know better. I am now 45 years old and I've learned a lot, which is why I'm here on the internet to share my experience with you all and teaching you all to make better choices. Let me also preface this by saying that the 3 times that I ended up dating narcissists, that was the 3 lowest points of my life, literally. And I did not know they were narcissists until later on in life, which is why I talk about narcissism sometimes just to bring awareness. So the year was 2008. I was in my 20s, and the person that I'm going to talk about, let's call him Aiden. And I guess I'm just going to go right into, before I get into how we met, let me just set up the scene for you guys, and so that you can understand why I did what I did. So I had just gotten out of a 2-year situationship, okay? And I have to call it situationship because I can't, in all honesty, call it a relationship. I was dating this guy, and we would go out. We were going out for 2 years, but we never got serious because all we would do it would just go out on dates. He would just take me out on dates, take me out to dinner. We'll go over to his place. I might spend the night or spend the weekend with him. And it was always during the weekend. It was rarely ever during the week that we would meet up. I knew something was wrong because I think I met him when I was 24 or 25 years old. I'm not exactly sure. Y'all, do the math, y'all, because this was a long time ago. Now, this guy, this situationship, I'm not even going to give him a name because, he's not really that important to the story. This is how our relationship was. He was always able to get me Like he can call me up on the phone, text me or whatnot, and I would reply. But when I texted him or when I tried to call him, nothing. Like I would spend the weekend with him. Like every weekend or maybe twice for the month, we'll see each other for like a weekend, and then we'll go to dinner, we'll go to the club or go do something fun, and then we spend the weekend at his place, and then he will drop me back off home. He'll drop me home, and then the minute he dropped me home and I walked through my door, that man was unreachable. I literally would not hear from that man again until he was ready to see me. And I put up with that for 2 years. 2 years. Don't ask me how or why, but that's what I put up with. And I didn't know what to do because I didn't know who to go to for advice. There was literally no YouTube or anything back then. I think there was YouTube, but it wasn't like what it's like now. Okay, like we didn't have Instagram or anything like that. So I had no one to turn to. Okay, so the only thing I had was reading advice books, like reading relationship books targeted to women, or reading relationship advice in magazines, really bad relationship advice. When I tell you that the advice was always so bad. So one day I just got super tired of it. Like I was so mad and so angry because here I am 2 years later. I'm seeing this guy and nothing is happening. Our relationship is not going anywhere. And it's been 2 years and I don't know what to do. So I just decided to just break it off with him. I was like, listen, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm getting sick and tired of this. Let's just end this because clearly you are not serious and I want something more. So I broke up with him. By the way, the concealer I'm using is Too Faced. That's the concealer I'm using. And my contour is It's Beauty. This is what it looks like. And the powder I'm using is by a local brand, Caramaya. For those of you that want to know. So, obviously I was heartbroken. Don't ask me why I was heartbroken because when I look back, I wasn't really in love with this guy. I guess I was just really angry and I don't know, like I felt really bad. Like I really did feel like I lost something, and what I lost really was my time. Okay, that is what I lost. I lost my time, and I guess I was grieving the time that I lost wasting away with this guy, hoping that one day he would commit and be like, let's take the relationship to the next level, let's be serious, blah blah blah. That day never came. Okay, but we used to go on fun dates. I'm not gonna lie, I used to enjoy his company, so it is what it is. I decided that the best way to grieve the end of this relationship was go to the club. And I don't remember if I went to the club alone or if I went with my sister, because in those days I was living with my sisters at the time. And trust the process, y'all. This is what it looks like during the process. Okay, anyways, looking back now, going to the club instead of staying home and dealing with my feelings was probably the worst thing I could have done, and I would not recommend it. But your girl wanted to be outside. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be outside. I did not want to be at home or depressed or whatnot. So I was like, you know what, let me go to the club. It's Friday night or whatever. So I went to the club and I was like, maybe I'll meet someone, someone who will give me attention or whatnot. Like that's how bad that's how bad I needed attention. Like it was embarrassing. But anyways, I was in the club, having a good time, and I met this guy, and his name is Aiden. Aiden was very, very charming. Okay, like I'm not gonna lie, these narcissists are always charming at first. I don't know why that is, but such is life, right? They need something to pull you in. Okay, and just remember, at that point I was at my lowest. Okay, I was depressed, angry, grieving over a failed situationship. I felt worthless. Like I felt all sorts of way. Like at that point I was very much questioning my worth. The blush that I'm using is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Blush Trio. I'm going to move on to the lip liner. This is a Kylie lip liner, and then I'm going to put some lipstick on. But I'm not going to play the victim here because I made the decision that I made, which was obviously a bad decision. But at the end of the day, I'm going to hold myself accountable, and I made peace with myself a long time ago, and I forgave myself and I moved on, and that's how I can come and tell this story here today. So anyways, I decided to go home with this man that I just met at the club. I know, my very first ever one night stand, that first and last one night stand that well, I did had a relationship with him afterwards. So is it really a one night stand, girl? I don't know, because y'all tell me. The name of this is Final Treat. I'm almost done, but I wouldn't be using this again because this is not what I usually use. I still do use the Max Fix Plus, but because I got this for free, I use it. I do like it though, but it's not what I usually use. Anyways, let's do something about my hair. So I put some of this in my hair. It's GK. I can't really read the rest because I'm not wearing my glasses, but I think you can only get this at the salon. I'll put links in the description for everything that I've used so far. Okay, but yeah, let's get it back into the story time. Yes, I made the crazy decision to go with this guy because I was like, you only live once, YOLO. What's the worst that can happen? He's gonna be gone anyways. After he gets what he wants and I get what I want. So yes, I did that because I was in a low place in my life and I really needed external validation. Okay, so yes, took him home, and it was a good night, not gonna lie. The guy was actually good in bed. So silly me thought that by the time I wake up the next morning he would be gone. That's what I thought, because that's my experience with men up until this point. Okay, they get what they want and then they bounce. Like, I legit thought that he would be gone by the time I woke up. Lo and behold, I woke up the next morning and he was still there. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess, okay, maybe, I thought maybe he wanted to go another wrong. Like, I don't know why he was still there. So I was like,
I forgot to mention that my sister had a living boyfriend, so we did have a guy living with us at this time,
I guess
okay?
I will see you some other time. So, I'm telling him that, now it's time for you to leave. And he was like, no, can I stay a little bit longer? I just want to get to know you a little bit more or whatnot. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah, like, you're such an amazing person, and I just want to get to know you because I feel like, the time we spent together is not long enough. Like, I want to know more of you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, okay, whatever. Now that I look back, it's so crazy, right? So a lot of the stuff that I remember is kind of vague at this point, but I remember he did stay, we had breakfast or whatnot. I got up, and I think I went to run errands or something like that, or I went to work. I can't remember, but I remember coming back and he was still there. He was like literally still in the house. And I was like, okay, why is this guy not leaving or whatnot? And long story short, he did not leave, y'all. He did not fucking leave. And this is how these narcissist bum homosexuals are. Now, I'm not gonna say that he was a homosexual because he wasn't really homeless. Like, he wasn't even a citizen, okay? Like, he was a guy that, traveled around the world. I guess what I would call him was a couch surfer, because I realized now that I look back, he was just using me as a way to get a free couch to stay on, okay? So I guess you could put that in the category of homosexual. Now, just remember, ladies, that I am living in a house with my sisters at the time, okay? So the whole thing was just awkward, but, me and him had the master bedroom, so we didn't share the same bathroom as my sisters or anything like that. So, and then my sisters was busy, they were going to work or whatnot, and
Y'all, I forgot to mention that my sister had a living boyfriend, so we did have a guy living with us at this time, okay?
They weren't seeing a lot of him, but they were seeing more than enough of him because, he was literally living in the house. Like, he would go out or whatever, and then he would come back and he would sleep over here. But the first thing that I noticed that was weird, y'all, was that how much he ate, okay? Like, this guy was tall and slim. Like, he wasn't fat or anything like that, but he was like about 6 feet, 6'1" or whatever. And I remember that, when I would cook, it's 4 of us plus him, 5 of us living in the house at the time. And when I cook, I will make sure that I cook enough food for everyone, okay? But he would get out like a little bowl, like a bowl this small, and then he would put food in it. and he's gonna eat the food and he's gonna be like, yeah, this is good, but whatnot. I was like, is that all you having? And he was like, yeah, this is enough. Like, I don't need much food. But then he would go back and refill the bowl, and he will do that like 3 times. Okay, so he's eating from a small bowl, and not a plate. Like, he chooses to eat in a bowl. Like, anyways, he would just keep going back into the pot and taking more food. So sometimes my sister will get home from work and they have nothing to eat. And I'm like, what the hell is this? What's going on here? Mind you, not once did this man offer to pay for groceries or offer to give me money or anything like that. Back then I was a pick me because I felt like, maybe I shouldn't ask for money. Maybe I should just wait until they give me money or give me something or contribute or something like that. I was waiting for when he was going to do that, but he never did. He never did. He never offered to pay for groceries or anything like that. He never offered to contribute. So it was getting really awkward. So I was like, hey, I think it's time that you start helping with the bills and the rent and stuff in here, okay? And mind you, it has been like a couple of weeks or maybe 3 weeks has gone by, okay? And he's still in my house. I'm like, listen, maybe now it's time you should, start contributing because you've been here a while and I don't know what your plan is or whatnot, okay? So other than he planned to go to California because he had this job in California. And I was like, okay, what's this job? He was going to go to California for like 3 or 4 months and he was going to work on that thing that they roll up and smoke, okay? Because I don't want to get censored on here. But yes, he went to work on that farm and they was going to be giving him like $200 a day or whatnot, and that was good money. And then we'll come back, he's going to come back and we're going to get married and we're going to buy a car and blah blah blah. He started future faking at that point. That he was future faking, y'all. Now I do not know why these narcissists future fake, but I felt like maybe he sensed that I wasn't really taking the relationship seriously, because simply you're a foreign national and you only have a certain amount of time here in this country, okay? So in the back of my head, like in my subconscious, I was basically, by my time, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to enjoy this for as long as it lasts, blah blah blah, okay? So he started future faking, and I guess maybe his visa was up and he had to leave the country or whatnot, and he was gonna go and be there for like 3 or 4 months, okay? And he was like, we should get married or whatnot, and we should have like a traditional Christian wedding, and then we're gonna have a Hindu wedding, because at that point in my life, I was a practicing, not practicing, but I was very much involved in the temple, okay? So I was going there and I would be there every Sunday or whatnot. So I had like a whole community and everything there. And he went with me a couple times or whatnot, and he always made a good impression because people always liked him when they met him. That's another thing that people don't really realize about narcissists. So eventually he did leave finally, and he went off to California, okay? Now at that point I didn't have a lot of expectations, because I'm thinking, well, I'm probably not going to hear from him again. But he was calling me, okay? He was calling me almost every day. He was consistent calling me and telling me about all the plans that he had for us, and what he's going to do, and he's saving all this money so that he can invest in our relationship and our future or whatnot. And I was like, okay. I mean, it felt nice, getting calls from him every day, okay? Then this 3 month or 4 month came, the time when he was supposed to finish his work and come back to the country. All right, radio silence. Like, I did not hear from him for about a week, y'all. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell happened to this guy? I mean, you guys know where this is going, right? I was so worried, like I couldn't get onto him. Like, I was calling this guy, worried, leaving messages or whatnot, and nothing for about an entire week. A week later, he's called me up and telling me that, he had this thing to do and he was looking at opportunities or whatnot, and he's trying to get into the entertainment business because he's in California and he's just exploring these opportunities that he have, and he's gonna come back, don't worry, whatever. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, at least he's okay, at least he's alive, right? And he eventually came back, okay? He came back about a month later after he was supposed to leave the, the farm and come back with this money that he promised that he was going to come back with, okay? Of course, in true narcissistic fashion, he came back with no fucking money, a bunch of fucking excuses, and again, he's staying in my house. He's staying in my house once again, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? What's going on? Okay? So he didn't even have a phone, okay? So the phone that he was using was a phone that I loaned him. I just had an extra phone laying around. And one day I went into the phone and I saw a picture, and it's a picture of him having schmecks with someone else. And I confronted him and I was like, what the fuck is this? He was like, oh, this was way before I met you. This is a long time ago, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, why is it still on your phone? And the girl looked like, I don't want to bash anyone's looks, but I'm going to rate her look. She looked like a 3 or 4, okay? If we're being honest. So I'm like, wow, this guy has no standards. Like, would he just sleep with anything? Because I was confused, because I was like, what the fuck is going on? And it was a girl, it happened in my country, okay? So I was like, okay, maybe he's right, because I didn't have any proof or anything like that. I stumbled upon the picture on the phone or whatnot, and maybe it was really before he met me. But my issue is, why do you still have that picture? But then again, we got past that or whatever, and he's still in the house, still not contributing. And I'm like, I'm getting tired of this. There was this thing that he would do that would piss me off so much, y'all. So anyone that knows me knows that I hate when people waste my time. I hate time stealers. I hate when people are keeping me back and making me late. I hate people that have bad time management. That pisses me off all the time. And that was him. We would get dressed, okay, to go out. I take a lot longer time to get dressed because, hello, it's me. I have to do my hair, my makeup, my whatever. It takes me a longer time to get dressed, okay? It takes me about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, depending on the occasion. And it will take this guy 5 minutes to get dressed, okay? Tell me why when we leave in the house, okay, and I'm turning the keys in the door to lock the door, he will be like, oh, open it back up. I need to go pee. I need to go to the bathroom. And he would do that every single time. There were times we were literally walking out the road, like literally already walk a block or half a block. And he has to turn back and go back in the house to pee. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? We are pressed for time. Every little minute counts. We're going to be late. What the hell is wrong with you? Until one day, I confronted him about it again because it was getting on my fucking nerves, yo. It was getting on my nerves. So we're back in the house and he thought that we were alone in the house. He did not know that my sister was at home because, we lived our separate lives, okay? Everybody had jobs or whatnot. So he did not know my sister was home. Maybe I had a day off or whatnot, and she was sleeping, and I'm talking to him about it. This man raised his voice so loud at me, and he was pointing his fingers in my face like this. And I'm like, shocked. Because I've never had anyone talk to me like that ever. So something like that happening to me, I don't even know how to react because I am shook. He was so loud, he woke my sister up, and my sister just came out of her room and walked to the bathroom. And I can tell that, he was shocked that he didn't know she was home. Okay? And what I could tell you ladies is that I am so grateful that I wasn't living in that house alone, and I'm going to get to that a little bit later on, but let's continue, okay? So yeah, he would do that all the time. Now you're back, you still pissing me off, you are a disappointment, you basically spent all the money that you made for that 4 months that you were in California, all the plans that you said that you had did not follow through, so it was just a bunch of promises, okay? So then again, now I have to come and confront him about being in a house, okay? Like, you need to contribute. He got mad, he packed his shit and went to live with his friends. He had friends here, and his friend was like in the north of the country. So he's staying at other people's houses, okay? So he left my house because he didn't want to contribute. And he was basically being a homosexual everywhere. He was at one house, he was eating all their food, smoking all the weed, and then he went to another house. So like every time I have to see him or go visit him, I have to go Y'all, don't ask me why I was doing this. I do not know what I was thinking. Again, remember, this was at my lowest point. I've never dated or experienced anything like this before, so all of this is new. I mean, this was like the second time, but the first narcissist, it was very, very brief. It was so brief that I was able to get rid of that guy in a month, okay? But this one was different, and I've never experienced anything like this before. So he got mad, packed his stuff, went to stay at his friend's place or whatnot. And I'm just sharing all the stuff that happened, and which is gonna lead up to the breakup, okay? Which is leading up to the breakup. So let me try to wrap this up because I feel like this video is already too long. But anyways, let's continue, okay? So one time we were in the city, and we were going to one of his friends that he was freeloading at. Because his friend lived in a really nice place, like Las Cuevas, near the beach, and it's so beautiful. But anyways, we stopped in the city and we got some takeaway food, and he paid for it. Okay, we got there, and we got out of the bus and we walked into his friend's place, and he started complaining and talking about, I bought you food and blah blah blah. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Because I've never had a guy bought something for me and then threw it in my face and talk about it resentfully. Like, I've never experienced that before, so I didn't know how to deal with that. So at this point, I just couldn't take it anymore. I took that food that was in the bag, like the takeaway food, and I flinged it so far, like it busted. The food was all on the road and everything like that, and I just turned around and I just started walking back the way we came. I just started walking. I had no idea how the hell I was getting out of there, because that place is kind of rural. Eventually I did get out. I can't remember how, but I did. I think I got a bus. It took me a while, but I just kept walking because I was like, this is unacceptable. I'm not dealing with this. So I just kept walking. I don't know what happened after that, but he was calling me. He apologized. I'm so sorry, whatnot. Long story short, he was back in my place again, and I'm like, oh my God, what's happening again? All of this is my fault, okay? Again, I'm not the victim here. All right, this was a lesson for me. This was a learning experience for me, because it was weird. All of this happened within a span of 7 months. Okay, 4 months we were separated, and 3 months we were only dating for like really dating, like seeing each other between 3 months over. Y'all, like, I would probably see him like maybe twice for the week or whatever when he was not at my place. But when he was at my place, he would be there every day. So if I add up the time that he stayed at my place, I would say it was probably about a month within that 3 months we were dating, and the 4 months when we were separated, we were just long distance. So now he's back, and my house is full because I have cousins visiting from the United States for the carnival. What the hell? I had some cousins visiting, and you all know one of my cousins, Simba. Some of you all know who she is, okay? But she was there. Everyone was in the house, and he was there too, okay? Now he's back, okay? And all the stuff is in my room or whatnot. And I remember I saw a book, and the cover looked really interesting. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. I picked up the book, and I opened it, and a photo fell out. A photo fell out, and I picked up the photo, and it was a girl. Nice. This girl was pretty, smiling. She was gorgeous, okay? And in the back of the photo, there was a note, and clearly I know who the note was from. Don't ask me what was said, but it was kind of like a love note. Okay? I was like, what the fuck is this? Who is this? And I confronted him, okay? He's like, it's none of your business. You don't know what this is, and blah, blah, blah. So, of course, he started gaslighting me. And I just took that picture, and I just cheered like this. Cheered like that. Y'all, I feel like to this day, I felt like if I was alone with this man in the house, he would have put his hand on me. That man would have put his hand on me if there was not people in that house. The way he flew towards me, like it was like lightning speed. And he just came up to me like this, like we were this close, and he just stopped. He stopped, he composed himself, and of course he was mad or whatnot, and then he left or whatever, I can't remember. Then he came back and he was like, listen, it's not what you think. This is someone that I know from even before I met you, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't believe him. I did not believe him at all. I just let it pass. I let it slide because, again, I didn't have any proof. I couldn't say that, he was lying or, he was really seeing this person. But ladies, we know, deep down we know, okay? We know it's bullshit, we know. Next time, just listen to your intuition and let it go, okay? And back then I wasn't very much connected to my intuition anyways, because I was going through a lot, y'all. I was going through a lot. I was at a very low point in my life. Came out of a situationship for 2 years and I just felt like shit the whole time. My finances wasn't where I wanted it to be. My life was in shambles. I hated my life. I just hated my existence. So, and this is why I'm telling you all this story, because when you're at your lowest, the last thing you want to be doing is entertaining men. The last thing you want to be doing is dating. Like, if I can go back, I would not have gone to that club. I would not have entertained anyone until I know for a fact that I was ready and I feel good about myself. So, anyways, a week later, or maybe less, he just got up and he was like, oh, I'm going to do laundry. I'm going to do laundry. I was like, okay, fine. Oh, you're going to do laundry? Great. So, I had a jeans that I wear pretty often, and the knees of the jeans was covered in mud because I went visiting him at one of his friends' place, and that friend happened to live on a hill, and I slipped and fall going up that hill, and I fell on my knees, and the mud stains and stuff like that was still there on the jeans. So I was like, hey, can you just wash this jeans, please, because you're already doing laundry, okay? And since you're already doing laundry and you're using my washing machine, you're using my water, my electricity, why can't you just wash the jeans? Like, why is it such an issue? This man made it an issue. He was so upset that I asked him, like I had the audacity to ask him to put my jeans with his laundry. And I'm like, I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, this can't be happening. This can't be happening right now. So I just got up, went outside, opened my door, and went into the living room, in the living space where everyone was hanging out, because me and him was in the room by ourselves, and that was happening. And I woke up, my cousin, she brought a guy, and he was sitting in the living room, waiting for her to get ready, because I guess he was going to take her out or whatnot. But it wasn't romantic, it was a friend. So I was like, listen, if your girlfriend or your wife ask you to wash a pair of jeans for her, what would you do? And he was like, I would wash it. Hell, I would do the whole laundry basket. That's what the guy said. I was like, thank you. You know what I did? I went and I took all his clothes out of my room, and I just walked outside with everything, and I just threw it over the porch, threw it over the banister. I even went and took his clothes that he had in the washer, and I took it out all wet or whatever, and I threw it out. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to ever see you again. Ever. And all of that happened in front of everyone. I know he was so embarrassed, y'all. He was so embarrassed. But you see, the thing is, to this day, I am so grateful that my family was there with me. My cousin, all them people that were there in the house with me, because I swear to God, if I was alone with this guy, he would have done the worst, because he never got to isolate me. Usually narcissists like to isolate their victims. You're not going to isolate me, because I have a support system. And I'm not the type of girl that I'm not the type of girl that stop talking to my friends just because I meet a guy. That's not me. Women that do that are usually the ones that get caught up with these narcissists for years and endure years of abuse. That day was the final straw. I was like, no, I had to get rid of this guy, y'all. Like, the way that everything played out, and remember, I think this was a Sunday, so everyone was home, the neighbors was home, everyone saw what happened. Like, I was just taking all his stuff, like his guitar, his books, his clothes, everything, and I was just throwing it out the house. Get out, get the fuck out. I don't want to ever see you again, ever. That day, I banned everyone from mentioning his name. No one was allowed to mention his name ever again in that house. I blocked them on social media, and I just went about my business and act like this man never existed. And this is the first time I'm actually telling this story. I think I can't remember if I don't remember ever telling this story. If I did, I'm so sorry. But I feel like this is the first time I ever told this story. So that was my experience dealing with a narcissist. And I wouldn't wish that experience on anyone. And there were things, I was protected, okay? But then after that happened, okay, remember he came back and he was only in the house for about a week, probably less, okay? And that was the last time. That was it. That was the last time he came back. That was the last time I saw him, whatnot. Tell me why I have BV, okay? I got BV. So while you were at your friends or whatnot, you were probably seeing other bitches doing whatever, and now I have to go get antibiotics. So after that, y'all, that was such a humbling experience for me, and it was such a huge lesson in my life. So before I end this with any advice, let me just clear some things up, okay? So earlier I mentioned that he ate a lot. The way he ate did not make sense because I didn't understand why he was eating so much. It turns out this guy was on drugs, okay? So he was a junkie basically, and I was like, oh, that's why he was eating that much, because I didn't understand it, okay? Because I know people that smoke the the weed thing, and they still don't eat as much as he does. He was eating way too much, and I didn't understand it. And I didn't understand why he was so slim, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? One time, he gave me a pill, and it was during Carnival. He was like, no, it's safe, don't worry, it's safe. I had a really bad trip, and that pill was ecstasy is a word. Ecstasy is a real word. All right, yeah, that was what that pill was. So anyways, I had a bad trip, and that trip went on for hours. And he was like, do you want me to call an ambulance? I was like, yes, please call an ambulance. And he would ask me, like, he asked me several times if he should call an ambulance, and I said yes, and he never called an ambulance. I thought I was going to die. Like, I legit thought I was going to die, and it was just me and him alone in the house that time because everyone was out partying for Carnival. So I woke up the next day and I survived. I also believe that he was, what do you call them? He was definitely a bum. Definitely a bum, because I felt like he was making all these connections everywhere he go so that he can have a free place to stay. He was definitely a couch surfer, hobosexual, whatever you want to call it, and I think that's the reason why he wanted to stay at my place and stay in touch with me, because he had no reason to stay in touch with me, you know. Like, he could have just gone about his business, because, you know, he left my place like twice or three times. He left and then came back. So like all the friends and all those people that he knew were people that he met, and he would go stay at their house, and he was doing the same thing to me. Like, he was basically using people, and that's one of that is basically the parasitic nature of a narcissist, okay? When a narcissist come into your life, they're going to ruin your finances, they're going to live off of you, they're literally going to leech off of you. They're not going to give you anything of value at all, and if they give you something, they're going to make sure that they're going to constantly remind you of what they give you. And that's why he was doing that with the food, okay? Because this guy barely did anything for me, barely. He never had any realistic goals whatsoever. Never. And this is another thing that you're going to find with narcissists. Their goals are not realistic. They're all over the place. They can't focus on do one thing. They're always all over the place, and they always have these crazy dreams that they will never realize, ever. So all the talk about marriage and stuff like that, that was all bullshit. He had no intention of getting married. Like, there's no way that was going to happen anyways. So this was 17 years ago. Now, coming out and sharing this story is a lot for me, because I don't usually share like this. So I swear to God, like, if you all start acting crazy in the comment section, I'm deleting this video, and you will never ever get another story time ever from me again, because you all don't know how to act. I don't know, I feel like one of the things that when it comes to me and my audience, I feel like I want to connect with you all, but like, I feel like, you know, sometimes I have to hold myself back, because I don't believe in oversharing. But this happened 17 years ago, and I feel like I had to tell this story. Yeah, I'm over it. It was quite traumatizing, because after he left, like, oh, it was like a relief, but the entire time I didn't even realize that I was traumatized. My cortisol level was high. I was basically in survival mode. It was not easy, y'all. After he left, my life just got better. I immediately got a job, a good job that was paying me way more than my previous job. My life took a turn for the better. Everything just started falling into place. Good things just started coming in. I was feeling a lot better about myself, you know. So how you feel about yourself reflects what you attract into your life. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it is true. Every time I attracted anyone crazy in my life, it was because I was at a very low point in my life where I was questioning my self-worth. I was feeling like shit. I was thinking that I'm getting older. Nobody's taking me seriously. And by the way, the guy that strung me along for 2 years, he came back in the middle of all that, and he saw my new guy, and I could tell that he was upset and he was hurt. But I didn't give a shit anymore because I did not want him to come back into my life and waste more of my time. So I got rid of the both of them, and I learned so much, and I never experienced anything that crazy again, because I did date another narcissist briefly, but you know, we didn't live together or anything like that. That's a whole nother story time. But this particular relationship, or whatever the hell you want to call this, was by far the worst experience I've ever had with a man in my life. And I'm thinking that a lot of things could have gone so much worse. I feel like if I was alone and I didn't have family, I didn't have friends around me all the time, I felt like things could have been a lot worse with me and this guy. Coming out of that, it makes me realize that I was pretty lucky, but also I didn't understand how women would get caught up with these men for years and years and years. And the one thing that a lot of these women had in common was that the isolation process was successful. He could not isolate me. That was difficult for him to do, thank God. So all I can say, ladies, is know your worth. Know that you are valuable. Don't ever let anyone make you question your worth. Okay? And then take accountability for your actions and your decisions. Because everything that happened to us usually is because we allow it to happen, especially when we're dealing with men. We allow people to treat us the way they treat us. So, you know, you have to teach people to treat you the way you want to be treated. And you do not have to accept bad treatment or bad behavior from anyone. Also, any decision you make out of desperation, trauma, or neediness, whatever it is, it's going to blow up in your face. Do not make decisions like getting a relationship or dating or anything like that when you are at a low point in your life. At this point in your life, you need to do some self-reflection and some healing. So yeah, that's all the advice I have for you all. That happened 17 years ago, and I'm kind of glad that it did, because it really taught me a valuable lesson. So anyways, thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.